Hey Capricorn, welcome back. I need you to really focus on what I'm about to share because the energy coming through these cards is urgent and revelatory. When I sat down to connect with your energy today, I felt this immediate sense of something breaking open, like a sealed container that's been locked for too long, finally cracking under pressure. This reading is about truth, about things that have been deliberately hidden from you, and about the moment when all of that concealment falls away. The bottom pan, in tarot language, represents those deep buried secrets, the things people work very hard to keep hidden because exposing them would change everything. And Capricorn, your bottom pan is cracking wide open right now. I pulled 10 cards for you, and each one reveals another layer of what's really been happening in your life. This is a general reading for entertainment purposes, so take what resonates with your situation and leave what doesn't. What I'm picking up from these cards is a story of calculated deception, someone who's been playing a long game with you and the universe finally pulling back the curtain. You've probably felt something was off for a while now, that nagging sensation in your gut that things weren't adding up. Maybe you tried to ignore it. Maybe you told yourself you were being paranoid. Maybe other people told you that you were overthinking. But Capricorn, your instincts were right. There's been something real to feel uneasy about. And these cards are here to validate what you've been sensing and show you exactly what's coming to light. The first card I pulled is the Knight of Pentacles, and the moment this card appeared, I felt this heavy, methodical energy. The Knight of Pentacles moves slowly, deliberately, with his eyes fixed on the single golden coin in his hand. He's patient, he's strategic, he doesn't rush. In a positive context, this is the reliable person who shows up consistently, who follows through, who builds something stable over time. But in this reading, positioned as what's been happening behind your back, this knight takes on a completely different meaning. What I'm seeing here is someone who has been extraordinarily calculated in their approach to you. They didn't come in hot and fast. They didn't overwhelm you with intensity that would raise red flags. Instead, they played the long game. They showed up consistently, said the right things at the right times, demonstrated reliability in small ways that gradually built your trust. Think about how this knight sits on his horse, completely focused on that pentacle. That single-minded focus is exactly what this person has had, except their focus wasn't on genuinely connecting with you, it was on positioning themselves in your life for their own benefit. I'm getting that this person studied you, learned what you value as a Capricorn, someone who respects hard work, consistency, reliability, and then they became exactly that. They mirrored back to you the qualities you admire because they knew it would make you trust them. Maybe this is someone at work who positioned themselves as your ally, someone in your personal life who seemed like the stable one when everyone else was chaotic, or even a romantic connection who presented themselves as the steady, dependable partner after you dealt with unreliable people. But here's the truth this card is revealing. It was all performance. Every consistent text message, every time they showed up when they said they would, every demonstration of reliability, it was strategic. They were building a foundation of trust so they could eventually use it against you. The Eight of Swords crashes into this reading next, and Capricorn, this card shows me exactly how their strategy affected you. Look at this image. A figure stands blindfolded with loose ropes around their body, 8 swords planted in the ground, forming what looks like a cage. But here's what's crucial to notice. The bindings aren't tight, the swords aren't actually touching the figure, and behind them is open space. This person isn't truly trapped, they're just convinced they are. This has been you in this situation. You've been kept in a state of mental imprisonment, unable to see clearly, convinced you have fewer options than you actually do. Every time you started to question what was happening, this person had an explanation ready. Every time your intuition whispered that something was wrong, they gave you just enough reassurance to quiet that inner voice. They've been playing with your perception deliberately, feeding you partial truths mixed with carefully constructed lies, keeping you in this fog of confusion where you couldn't trust your own judgment. For someone like you, Capricorn, who prides yourself on clear thinking and practical assessment, this has been especially destabilizing. You've probably found yourself questioning your own sanity, wondering if you're being too suspicious or too harsh. You might have thought about confronting them, but then talked yourself out of it because you weren't sure, because maybe you were wrong, because what if you were overreacting? That uncertainty, that self-doubt, that was intentional on their part. The Eight of Swords represents how they've been controlling you through confusion and manufactured helplessness, but I need you to see what this card is also showing you. Those bindings are loose. You can remove that blindfold anytime you choose. You have more power in this situation than you've been led to believe. Now, the Nine of Pentacles appears, and this card fills me with this beautiful, dignified energy that's such a contrast to the Eight of Swords. Here stands a figure in a lush garden they've cultivated themselves, completely self-sufficient, a trained falcon resting on their hand as a symbol of mastery and independence. This is you, Capricorn. This is who you really are beneath all that manufactured confusion. You're the person who built something real through your own discipline and effort. You don't need someone else to complete you or validate your worth. You've created your own abundance, your own stability, your own beautiful life. But here's what this card is revealing about the situation. Your independence terrifies the person we're talking about. Your self-sufficiency is a direct threat to someone who wants to control you, who wants to be needed, who wants to position themselves as indispensable. Think about it. How can you manipulate someone who doesn't need you? How can you control someone who's perfectly capable of standing alone? You can't, and that's why this person has been working so hard to undermine your confidence in yourself. I'm picking up on subtle tactics, little comments that chip away at your self-assurance, offers of help that you didn't ask for, creating a sense of obligation, inserting themselves into your decisions to make you feel like you can't handle things without their input. Maybe they've questioned your choices in ways that seemed like concern, but were actually designed to make you second-guess yourself. Maybe they've offered advice that subtly suggested you weren't capable of figuring things out on your own. The Nine of Pentacles is showing me that all of this was about trying to disconnect you from your own power, because your power, your independence, your ability to thrive alone, that makes you immune to their manipulation. The Nine of Swords hits hard in this reading, and I can feel the anxiety radiating from this card. The image shows someone sitting up in bed in the middle of the night, head in their hands, 9 swords hanging on the wall behind them like manifestations of every anxious thought that won't stop circling. Capricorn, you've been losing sleep over this situation. You've been lying awake at 3 in the morning, replaying conversations word by word, analyzing every interaction, trying to make pieces fit together that deliberately don't fit. You've had that knot in your stomach that won't go away, maybe tension headaches, maybe you've felt physically sick when you have to see this person or deal with this situation. The Nine of Swords represents the mental torment of knowing something is deeply wrong but not having concrete proof, of being gaslit into questioning your own perception while your body screams that danger is present. What I want you to understand is that this anxiety isn't you being irrational or paranoid. Your subconscious mind has been processing all the inconsistencies, all the red flags, all the moments that didn't add up, and it's been sending you warning signals through these physical and emotional responses. Your conscious mind might have been talked into dismissing your concerns, but your body knows the truth. However, here's the empowering message in this card. While it represents worry and fear, it also shows that many of our worst anxieties exist primarily in our minds, magnified by darkness and uncertainty. Right now, you're tormented by not knowing for sure, by suspecting but not confirming, by fearing what might be true. But when the truth comes into the light, when you finally see this situation with clarity, that mental torment is going to lift. The revelation that's coming is actually going to bring you relief, because even painful certainty is better than this state of anxious confusion you've been trapped in. The Eight of Pentacles appears now, and this card brings such focused, concentrated energy. The image shows a craftsman bent over his workbench, completely absorbed in creating pentacle after pentacle, perfecting his skill through repetition and dedication. In this reading, this card is showing me two parallel realities happening simultaneously. First, it's revealing how this person has been working on their deception like a craft. They haven't been sloppy or careless with their lies. They've been refining their approach, learning what works on you specifically, adjusting their tactics based on your responses. Think about how a skilled craftsman gets better with each piece they create. That's what this person has been doing with their manipulation. They've been practicing, perfecting, becoming more and more skilled at knowing exactly what to say, exactly how to act, exactly which buttons to push to get the response they want from you. Maybe early on they made small mistakes that you noticed but dismissed, and they learned from those moments, got better at covering their tracks. But there's a second layer to this Eight of Pentacles that's actually empowering for you. This card also represents your work, your dedication to your own growth and goals. You've been building something, haven't you? Maybe it's your career, maybe it's a business, maybe it's your personal development or your financial independence. And I'm strongly getting that your success, your progress, your dedication to creating something meaningful, that's part of what triggered this whole situation. This person has been watching you build, and they've either been trying to take credit for your work, subtly sabotage your progress, or position themselves to benefit from what you're creating without actually contributing. The Eight of Pentacles can represent apprenticeship, and there's this sense that they've been learning from you, studying how you think and operate, extracting your knowledge and energy while simultaneously trying to hold you back from reaching your full potential. The Hierophant card comes through with this heavy, traditional energy, and in this context, it reveals something really manipulative. The Hierophant typically represents established systems, conventional wisdom, tradition, moral authority, spiritual or religious teachings. This card is showing me that this person has been weaponizing your values against you. They've been using concepts like loyalty, duty, commitment, family obligation, doing the right thing, not as genuine principles they believe in, but as tools to control your behavior. Think about how the Hierophant sits between two pillars, a spiritual authority figure who interprets divine law for others. This person has positioned themselves as someone who knows what's right, who can guide you, who has wisdom about how things should be done. But their version of what's right has consistently served their interests while demanding sacrifice from you. Maybe they've invoked ideas about loyalty to keep you from questioning them. Maybe they've used religious or spiritual concepts to shame you for having boundaries. Maybe they've referenced tradition or family expectations to pressure you into doing what they want. As a Capricorn, you respect tradition and established structures when they're built on genuine integrity, and this person has exploited that respect. They've been the one telling you what's appropriate, what's expected, what you should do, and because they've dressed it up in language that sounds wise or morally correct, you've been conditioned to comply. But notice how their moral guidance always seems to benefit them. When they talk about loyalty, it's about your loyalty to them, not theirs to you. When they invoke duty, it's about what you owe them, not what they owe you. The Hierophant is revealing that they've been using your own principles as chains to keep you in place. The Five of Wands bursts into this reading with chaotic, combative energy, and suddenly I'm seeing how this person operates in conflict. This card shows five figures wielding wands, engaged in what looks like intense fighting, but if you look closely, no one's actually getting hurt. It's all sound and fury signifying nothing. This is showing me that there's been constant drama and conflict surrounding this situation, but it's been deliberately manufactured chaos. This person creates problems out of nothing, picks fights over things that don't matter, stirs up drama, and then acts like you're the difficult one. The Five of Wands represents unnecessary competition and conflict, fighting for the sake of fighting, chaos that serves a purpose even though it seems pointless. And the purpose is distraction and control. When you're constantly dealing with drama, managing conflicts, defending yourself against accusations, responding to crises they've created, you don't have the mental space or energy to step back and see the bigger picture. You've been so busy fighting individual battles that you haven't seen the war. I'm also picking up that this person might have been creating triangulation, telling different people different things to ensure everyone's suspicious of each other, setting up situations where you're competing for their attention or approval, keeping multiple conflicts going so that no one compares notes and realizes they're the common denominator in all the chaos. The Five of Wands is showing me that you've been exhausting yourself fighting the wrong battles. You've been engaging with surface-level arguments and manufactured drama when the real issue is much deeper. This card is telling you to stop fighting their diversionary battles and start looking at what they don't want you to see, which is their actual agenda underneath all the noise. The King of Swords appears now like a blade cutting through fog, and Capricorn, this energy is you reclaiming your mental clarity. The King of Swords sits on his throne holding his sword upright, representing truth, intellectual clarity, the ability to see through deception and make decisions based on logic and facts rather than emotional manipulation. This card appearing in your reading tells me you're moving into a phase of absolute clarity. The confusion is lifting. Your mind, which has been clouded by their gaslighting and your own anxiety, is becoming sharp and precise again. You're starting to see patterns you couldn't see before. Conversations from months ago are suddenly clicking into new context. Behaviors that seemed random or confusing are now forming a coherent picture. Things they said that didn't make sense at the time are now revealing themselves as lies. The King of Swords has this brilliant ability to analyze situations objectively, to cut away emotional manipulation and see what's actually true, and that's the energy you're stepping into right now. I'm getting that you might have had a sudden moment of clarity recently, or you're about to have one, where everything just clicks into place. Maybe you'll discover concrete evidence, maybe someone will tell you something that confirms your suspicions, or maybe your own mind will finally put all the pieces together in a way that can't be denied. The King of Swords also represents the decisions you're going to need to make once you have this clarity. This isn't an emotional, impulsive energy, it's calculated and strategic. You're going to make choices based on truth and what serves your highest good, not based on guilt, obligation, or the fear of conflict. This person has been counting on you staying confused, staying emotional, staying engaged with their manufactured chaos. But the King of Swords says those days are over. You're thinking clearly now, and someone who's been manipulating you can't survive your clear thinking. The Empress flows into this reading with abundant, nurturing energy, and at first, this might seem unexpected in a reading about deception. But the message here is profound. The Empress sits in a lush, natural setting surrounded by abundance, representing creativity, growth, nurturing, the divine feminine power of creation. What this card is showing me is what's waiting for you on the other side of this revelation. When you finally see the truth clearly and make the necessary decisions to protect yourself, you're going to enter a period of genuine abundance and growth. The Empress is telling me that cutting away what's false, what's been draining your energy, what's been feeding off you without giving anything real back, is going to free up incredible space for authentic abundance to flow in. Think about how much energy you've been spending on this situation, on managing this person's chaos, on second-guessing yourself, on anxiety and confusion. All of that energy is about to be returned to you, and you're going to redirect it toward things that actually deserve it. The Empress also represents your creative power, your ability to nurture and grow beautiful things in your life, and I'm getting that this person has been threatened by that power. They've been blocking your Empress energy, keeping you in scarcity mindset, in anxiety, in self-doubt, because your abundance and creativity diminishes them by comparison. But once their influence is removed, watch what happens. Projects that have been stalled will suddenly move forward. Relationships that have been strained will heal. Opportunities that seemed blocked will open up. The Empress is also giving me this message about self-care and self-love. Part of your healing is going to involve being very gentle and nurturing with yourself. You're going to need to forgive yourself for not seeing this sooner, for trusting someone who didn't deserve it, for staying longer than you should have. The Empress energy says you did nothing wrong by being open-hearted, by being generous, by trusting. Those are beautiful qualities. What you're learning now is discernment, not cynicism. You're learning to protect your precious energy while still remaining true to your abundant, creative nature. The final card I pulled is the Fool, and this might seem like an unusual ending card, but the message here is actually beautiful and hopeful. The Fool stands at the edge of a cliff, about to step into the unknown, carrying everything they need in a small bag, a white rose in their hand representing purity of intention, a small dog at their heels representing instinct and protection. In traditional interpretations, the Fool can represent naivety or foolishness, but the deeper meaning is about new beginnings, stepping into the unknown with faith, trusting the journey even when you can't see where it leads. After everything this reading has revealed, the Fool is showing me your fresh start. When the truth comes out and you make the decisions you need to make, you're going to be stepping into a completely new chapter. Yes, there's some uncertainty in that. You might not know exactly how things will unfold, but there's also incredible freedom. The Fool carries very little with them because they're not weighed down by the past. This is what's available to you. The ability to release all of this heaviness, all of this deception and confusion and anxiety, and step forward, light and free. The Fool also represents trusting yourself again. After this person has worked so hard to make you doubt your judgment, the Fool says it's time to trust your instincts, to follow your inner guidance, to take that leap even if you can't see exactly where you'll land. I'm getting that some people in your life might not understand the decisions you're about to make. They might think you're being rash or foolish, especially if this person has built a good reputation with others. But the Fool doesn't care about other people's opinions. They follow their own path. This card is permission to do what you know is right for you, even if others don't get it. The white rose in the Fool's hand represents purity of intention. You're not acting from revenge or bitterness, you're simply choosing truth and authenticity. And that little dog represents your instincts that have been trying to warn you all along. Moving forward, you're going to listen to those instincts. The Fool is also card 0, the beginning of the entire tarot journey, which means this ending is actually your beginning. Listen, Capricorn, I know this reading has been heavy, and the truth I've revealed here might be difficult to sit with, but I need you to understand something with absolute clarity. This revelation, this bottom pan cracking open, this isn't happening to hurt you. This is happening to free you. You've been living in a false reality that someone else constructed for their benefit, and that reality was never going to lead anywhere good. The universe has been working behind the scenes to bring this truth into the light because you deserve to live in reality, not in someone else's carefully crafted illusion. The cards are showing me that this revelation is very close. Something is about to happen. Someone is about to say something. Evidence is about to surface. Your own clarity is about to reach a point where denial isn't possible anymore, and suddenly everything you've been sensing is going to be confirmed. That moment might be shocking, it might hurt, you might feel betrayed or angry or foolish, and all of those feelings are completely valid. But I also want you to prepare for the relief that comes with finally knowing. The Nine of Swords showed us how much the uncertainty has been torturing you. The King of Swords is showing us that clarity, even painful clarity, brings a kind of peace. You're going to be able to sleep again. You're going to trust yourself again. And that trust in yourself, Capricorn, that's what this person has been most successfully damaging. And reclaiming it is going to change everything. Right now, you might be doubting whether your instincts are reliable, whether your judgment is sound, but the truth is about to prove that you were right all along. Every uncomfortable feeling, every red flag you noticed, every moment something didn't sit right, you were picking up on the truth that was being hidden. Your intuition was working perfectly. Trust that moving forward. As you step into this next chapter, as you embrace the Fool's fresh start and the Empress's abundant new growth, remember that this experience, as painful as it's been, taught you something invaluable. You now know what manipulation looks like. You know the signs of calculated deception. You understand how people who don't have your best interests at heart operate. That knowledge is going to serve you for the rest of your life. You're not going to be fooled like this again because now you know what to watch for. This is a general reading for entertainment purposes, and I'm interpreting the energy I see in these cards based on what's coming through. Take what resonates with your personal situation and leave what doesn't. But Capricorn, I really feel this message found you at exactly the right moment because you needed to hear that you're not wrong, you're not paranoid, you're not overreacting. Your instincts have been correct. Something real has been happening, and it's about to be fully revealed. When that happens, stand in your King of Swords clarity, make decisions that honor your truth and protect your peace, and then step forward into the Fool's new beginning with the Empress's promise of abundance waiting to bloom in your life.